Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Voices for Change 2.0, the only podcast that focuses on mental health while mixing in movies, music, books, sports, and pop culture. Here are your hosts, Rebecca and Joe Lombardo.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Voices for Change 2.0.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, you guys. We are so happy that you have decided to join us today, halfway through July already. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And nice to see summer finally showed up.
In spades.
In spades. I don't know about you guys, wherever you're at, but it's been brutal in the Metro Detroit area the last couple of days as far as heat is concerned. And it's supposed to be brutal again today, and it's supposed to be that way until tonight, and then it'll cool down, but it's still going to be very humid. So I plan on hiding out inside the house and not going anywhere. That's my little bit of self-care after working in the heat all day the last couple of days. So that's where my mindset is. So it's an exciting weekend because currently the San Diego Comic-Con is going on in San Diego. And I'm jealous because I am not there again. And, one of these years we're going to make it down and check it out. And I can't wait because I really want to do that. But there's been a lot of stuff popping up that's just been coming out, being released from Comic-Con as the days have gone on. New trailer for Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah,
dropped.
I'm not interested in that at all. I guess I should watch the trailer before I make a definite decision on it. But Top Gun, the movie right now, I've tried to watch it in my later years here, and it's just so bad. It's just a terrible, terrible movie.
I know.
And,
I know it is. Well, 1986.
Yeah. I mean, it's so bad. And, it's funny, when I worked at Blockbuster, people would come in. This is when, like the sound bars and the what's it called?
Surround sound? Surround
sound, yeah, and everything was just getting started. And they would come in and say, hey, what's the best movie for me to test out my surround sound,
yeah.
And that was the one that we were that was our standby, do Top Gun. I would always say Star Wars, but everybody else always said Top Gun, and that's one thing that was like 1993, so it didn't feel so cheesy, but now here in 2019
it's a hard to watch. Yeah.
So I don't have any interest in a sequel all these years later, but
it might be good.
Yeah,
you never know.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
And I guess they released, I haven't seen it, but they've released some more footage from the next Terminator movie, Terminator Dark Fate, which is exciting only because they finally got Linda Hamilton involved. They've got James Cameron involved, and it's supposed to ignore a lot of the other sequels and be kind of a direct sequel deal to Terminator 2, which is an absolutely excellent movie and in one of my top 10. And one of the things that came out yesterday that they mentioned at Comic-Con is that they're even bringing back Edward Furlong to play John Connor, which is, I find, interesting and fascinating, and so I've got high hopes for the thing. I hope it does really well. It looks pretty good, and Scott has seen both trailers and says that they both look really cool. So that's exciting for me, being a nerd.
Well, it's hard for me to connect with anything that Tom Cruise does.
I know,
except for that. What was that last Mission Impossible movie that we watched? Fallout or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was something like Fallout.
That was actually really good, but I really watched that more for Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Than Tom Cruise, and he was really good in it. it took me a while to be sold on Henry Cavill for Superman, but I've seen him in that now and other things leading up to it. He had a good role in The Tudors, which I watched. I binge watched that. He was very good in that, and he was really good in this Mission Impossible movie. So
yeah, and he's supposed to be in this TV show, The Witcher, I think is what it's called. So I haven't seen a trailer for that yet, but I'll check that out and see if that's something worth investing time into. With him involved, I'm sure it will be.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we got our pop culture bit out of the way.
Yeah, we certainly did.
Yay! All right, so that means that we have to welcome our guest.
Absolutely.
No, we don't have to. We don't have to do anything. We're grown-ass adults and do whatever the hell we want.
Oh, my God.
But we're
lovely, dear. Lovely.
But we're gonna because we love her.
Yeah. Well, today we're talking to a really good friend of ours who has been on one of our KTMH panels. It makes us sound like an affiliated like radio station or something, but
you're listening to KTMH Radio.
Yeah, exactly.
You're welcome for that.
So and she is an author and a mental health advocate in her own right, and we also met on Twitter. I swear I've met so many people on Twitter. I'm really grateful for it. But she's a sweetheart and working really hard to get her newest book finished, I believe. And so we're just excited to have her today, just one-on-one. So please welcome to the show, Kelly Aiello. Good morning, Kelly.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going, guys?
Going pretty good. How are you?
Good, thanks. I was listening to your pop culture bit, and I feel like I don't want to stop with that right now.
Yeah,
and Rebecca,
yeah, no,
I'm 100% with you. Top Gun? No. Tom Cruise? No. And I worked at Blockbuster, too.
Oh, hey. See, you guys have so much in common. I wish we could have gotten together. You're out in California, aren't you?
Sorry? No, I'm actually in Toronto, Canada.
Why did I think you were in California?
Oh.
I don't know. That's weird. All right. Well, no, ignore the...
Yeah, we're kind of the same thing, I guess. Toronto, California, just a few thousand miles difference.
Sure. Yeah, why not? Landlocked versus, ocean, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we've been kind of taking it in with the Comic-Con news the last couple of days, looking on Twitter and all that. I really am eager to get out there one of these years. I just,
I was just so excited, not related to Comic-Con, but to see the trailer for next week's, this coming week's Handmaid's Tale. That's going to be
intense,
right. Yeah.
Do you watch that show, Kelly?
You know what? I'm one of those people that I subscribed to Crave and HBO for the last season of Game of Thrones, and then I canceled it right after Game of Thrones, which is so bad. But because I already have Netflix, and we've kind of committed to that. But I watched the first season and a half, so got about halfway through the second season. I binge watched it, and probably wasn't a good idea because I just did not feel okay after that. It's very intense, and the acting is amazing. It was like, I don't know if I could actually continue watching it because I just found it to be too much for me, I think, yeah.
It's funny because for a good year straight, Beck was trying to get me to watch this show, and I fought her tooth and nail on it because I'd watched the first couple of episodes, and just what she goes through is so soul-sucking. And it would leave me feeling dirty. And I pushed through those first couple of episodes and gave the thing a chance. And now I'm sucked into the show with her and seeing where this all goes. So, yeah. Yeah,
ordinarily I would probably find it a little bit more disturbing than I do, but after being an American Horror Story person and an Orange is the New Black person, everything, it doesn't seem nearly right. Exactly.
Yeah. I can't do AHS. I'm not a horror guy to begin with, so, and she is. So for me with the horror stuff, it's gotta be, bite-sized morsels,
Yeah, we haven't watched a good horror movie in years just because he doesn't like them, and that I come from, I have a best friend. She's in Chicago now, but we, as kids growing up, that's what we did, is we rented horror movies. The cheesier the better. We watched like the Faces of Death and all those really, really bad horror movies. And, none of that. I can't see anything happen to an animal, but it doesn't bother me if people are getting killed.
There's a lot of people like that, actually. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that the animals are pretty helpless. I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of jerk people out there, so maybe we feel okay about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. For me with Handmaid's Tale, it's because I'm kind of tuned into all the political garbage going on in this country. It hits kind of close to home.
Yeah.
With some of the stuff they talk about, and it's scary watching what they do on the show and then seeing, some of that actually starting to happen here, and we have actually talked about coming to Canada.
You'd be more than welcome.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Back for our third wedding anniversary, we actually drove to Toronto and went to the zoo and all that. And it was a lovely experience. And at the time, you're talking 2004. I was like, the American dream is alive and well, and it's in Canada.
Yeah, it's pretty good here. I mean, we have our problems, definitely, and we have definitely our surgence of, I guess, you call it the alt-right. Even some of our politicians support Donald Trump. But overall, we're pretty nice. We're a nice bunch. Yeah, we have jobs, and it's So I love it here. I mean, I've traveled to so many different countries, and every time I come home, I'm just like, I love you. I love you so much. Yeah.
That's a good feeling to have, honestly. It really is. It's like I love the United States. I just worry about the direction it's currently going, and I know things have to change. So that's my thing. Okay, enough politics before I get slapped. So before we get started, do you have any questions for us?
Oh, my goodness. I feel like I know you two so well already, all your tweets and, having chatted so much. And I read, Rebecca's blog. And so not right now, but I'm sure I will. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So, that said, we're going to jump into our tailor-made questions just for you.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is exciting.
All right, so we're going to start off with the question that we try to ask every one of our guests at the beginning of the show, and that's where does your mental health journey begin?
You know what? I was actually thinking about that with my husband a little while ago. I think it kind of came into, there's 2 points that it started. The first time, I think I was about 18 or 19 years old, and I think that there was, that's when my first symptoms started to occur. And then by the time I was 20, I was hospitalized. So that's when my mental illness portion, I guess, started. But I think my journey actually started when I put the words out there on a blog. I have bipolar disorder, and I'm sure you can relate, Rebecca. I hit the publish button, and then I sat back and went, oh my God, what did I just do? People are going to think I'm like crazy, and I hate that word. But I was thinking people are going to think that, and I'm going to lose my job, and the complete opposite happened. The amount of people who, came up to me both at my work and my friends and strangers saying, wow, thanks for putting that out there, or I have it, or, a friend of mine, a loved one. So it kind of invigorated me. And that was about, I don't know, when was I diagnosed? 2013? The end of 2013. I was finally diagnosed. It was a lot of years that I went undiagnosed.
Yeah, a long way.
It is a long way. It's remarkable I'm still alive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy that you are. We're happy
Thank
that
you.
you are.
I am too.
Yeah, it can be scary for sure, taking that first step and putting that out there, and you worry about what people are going to think and all this stuff, but it's like I always say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, so or to quote something a little more near and dear to me, you taking your first step into a larger world.
Yeah, that's good.
What's
I like
with
that
the face?
I don't know what that means. I mean, I don't know where it's from.
From Star Wars.
Oh.
How do you not know that's from Star Wars?
I have no idea.
Pop
I just
culture.
don't.
Yeah. God, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I don't remember it at all.
Wow.
Sorry.
It's.
You know how my memory is.
It's when Luke first.
It's okay. You
feels...
don't explain it to me right now.
Okay.
We can talk about it off the air, my love.
You know what I was talking about, didn't you, Kelly?
We'll go with sure, but I thought it was sure.
I am wounded. I am a wounded man right now.
It's
Good Lord.
okay.
So, when did you first realize you had a passion for writing?
That's another interesting question too, because it didn't really come as a first realization. It was more like a realization that I'd always had a passion for writing. I actually wrote fan fiction when I was a kid before I knew what fan fiction was. I was one of those kids. I used to read this series of fantasy novels called Dragonlance.
Dragonlance.
Oh my God, do you know about Dragonlance?
I know about Dragonlance. I read the first book, Dragons of Autumn Twilight. So yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I'm sorry, I didn't
so bad
interrupt.
and good. No, it's okay. They're so cheesy and so bad, and I love them so much. So
yeah.
So I read them so much. I think from the age of like 9, 10 years old, I just absorbed pretty much the entire series. And at about, I think probably age 12, 13, I think I was probably experiencing depression. I was, bullied in school and all that kind of stuff. And so I would lock myself in my room. I would put my music on really loud, and I would just write fan fiction with all those characters. But the only difference is I would insert myself into all the stories because I'm a total narcissist, apparently. But yeah, I'd pages and pages and pages, and then I'd rip them up into tiny little pieces, and I would put them like in the sink, and I would pour water all over them and let them go down the drain because I didn't want anyone to see them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of heartbreaking. I would have been curious to see what your stories would have said.
It probably would have been cool.
That's cool though. I mean, it's obviously you've had a creative mindset, from day one, and that's really cool. It's when you can develop it and do something with it, even for your own amusement. That's it's almost, it's a form of self-care. And you were practicing self-care at a young age. Just doing that, and only for yourself, but that's great.
Yeah. I guess I never had. I love that you brought that up because I never really saw it before as self-care. It was. I know now. To me, it was a survival tactic. It was my way of dissociation because my upbringing wasn't wonderful. So there was, I kind of just withdrew into myself and into my room and into these stories, and hours would go by, and my mom would be like, have you eaten yet? Are you going to come downstairs? No. So, yeah, I think, I guess it's an unusual way, but it got me through. And it still does. But I do it in a healthy way now.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, that's real good. Yeah, you know, I would do, and I still kind of do it with the guitar playing. You know, I'll find a song that I want to learn just for my own benefit, or, you know, like for those of you curious about learning guitar, there's an awesome video game called Rocksmith that will actually teach you how to play guitar. But the downloadable content, I mean, the songs you can learn, and I've used it to learn particular songs for different things, and you know, it's just that you get that own little special joy out of it, even if you never show it to anybody else or play it for anybody else, or, you know, sometimes you have to do things just for you, you know, and, you know, it's not a selfish thing. It's a self-love thing. Because I guess that's the way I could put it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And it's the same thing with writing, too. And, you know, I coach students and I teach students about, you know, creative writing and academic writing as well. But with the creative writing aspect, it's, you know, as soon as you start writing for someone else, as soon as you start writing to publish, as soon as you start writing with the intention of showing anybody else, you lose your voice and you lose the purpose. You know, write it and then send it out. Well, edit and then send it out there, because then it's the most authentic you. And you don't have to send it out there. You don't have to let anybody read it. And that's the part, you know, the therapeutic part of writing, which, you know, I'm guessing translates really well into music for you.
It does. Yeah. You know, you write, you know, when it comes to writing music, it's you get an idea in your head, you know, or you get a you know, for me, sometimes it's a lyrical idea, and you kind of go on a theme with it, you know, and you draw inspiration from different things. Maybe you read a book and you're inspired to write something based on that, you know, or you're feeling particular emotions towards a situation or towards a person, and you need to get that off your chest, and so you write it out. You know, you put your emotions into the notes you're choosing on the guitar, or you're, you know, writing lyrics. I mean, I've done that recently with a situation that we're dealing with, and I'm actually eager to show it to my bandmates now, because I think it could turn into a really cool tune. It needs some polishing, and you know, but it was, when I was writing it was really cathartic, you know, and that's, having that catharsis is important, especially when you're feeling very tempestuous, if that's a word. You know.
Yeah, that is a word.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
So.
Well done. Yeah, I agree
Thank
with you 100%.
Yeah.
So is all of your current writing based on mental health?
No, it's not actually. I have quite a bit that there are mental health themes to it. I write articles, but the bulk of my writing is actually fiction. I have a couple of novels written now. One of them I'm shopping around, hoping to get an agent. But I have a trilogy. It's a fantasy trilogy, and it's, while there's almost nothing in it that is mental health based. It's an urban fantasy, YA, young adult. It has been so good for my mental health, because it's any time that I felt, you know, depressed or felt anxious or just not feeling right, I just write. I would, you know, just dive into it, and I wouldn't see anything else. I would just be that kid again in my room, writing those, you know, fantasy fan fiction. And it was really good for me. It is really good for me. But I do have another novel that I'm about halfway through the first draft, and it's a lot more difficult to write, because it is actually about a 14-year-old girl who died by suicide. But I'm trying to make it delicate, though. I don't want it to be, one of these messages that bashes you over the head and sensationalized. And I'm trying to stay completely away from the whole 13 Reasons Why kind of trope that, in my opinion, is very expired. And it's difficult. And there's so many truths to, mental illness and suicide that are completely glossed over or ignored entirely for sensationalism in media, in literature. And I want to stay away from that. And I just want to make it as real as possible. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, it does. I can appreciate, you're trying to avoid being heavy-handed with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, that's very difficult when you're trying to say something, without getting preachy.
Yes.
Yes. So good on you for that.
Thanks. We'll see. I may die in the process trying to do this.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Oh, thanks.
So, we're about 25 minutes in or so we're going to take our first break. We're going to be listening to the song called Circles by Brian Justin Crum. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Maybe I should just keep running. I think I got a chance if I can get away. Yeah, we got a monsoon coming, babe. Too close to me. Don't tell me that it's nothing. With your girl here all night, talking about something. Are you sure that it's her on the line? Somehow, the things that are keeping me up late at night. Something about it's not right, oh. We go over and over again till we don't want to try. Love this time will be different, though. We go over and over again, we just can't get it right. One more time till we let this go. Circle.
Hey, welcome back to Voices for Change 2.0. I'm Joe. She's Rebecca. And that lovely and talented young lady that is on the line with us today is the wonderful Kelly Aiello.
I kind of was digging on that song. I think I might like to listen to it.
Scott, you want to play it again? No. Kidding. Don't play it again. You know, we'll get it from you after the show. But yeah, no, it sounded pretty cool. It's good jam.
Yeah.
So, hi, Kel.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm more relaxed now with my fiasco trying to figure out Canadian/American Skype. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tag. I don't know tag.
There's you know, they don't really give you a manual with this stuff. You just kind of have to guess your way in. And life's like that,
gosh.
though. You know,
Yeah.
we're finding, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
want to dip into our next series of questions here.
Sure, darling.
I'm asking you this question because as a writer and someone also with bipolar, that it's kind of a struggle for me. So I'm just wondering if you ever have any difficulty staying focused as an author with mental health.
Yeah, absolutely do, actually. The first problem that I do have, actually, is keeping focus, being able to finish a project without, my mind splitting elsewhere and saying, ooh, shiny thing over there. Like, I don't know if you can relate, Rebecca. I know we have a lot of similarities with respect to our lives and mental health. But I also do know that is a wee bit of a writer thing, but I find particularly with me, it can be very difficult. And I also find that I am beyond hard on myself to the point where I'm sure you get it. I give up. I start ruminating, spiraling thoughts, and then I go down the rabbit hole, and there we have days lost of me crying, and I laugh because it's the only thing I can do, right? It's brutal when it happens, but it is. And being a writer too, and this is overall for all writers, particularly fiction. Actually, no, for any writer. I don't even know why I said that. That you have to bleed. You have to bleed on the paper or on your laptop, metaphorically, obviously. But then when you send it out there, you got to put your armor on. How are we possibly supposed to do both of those things? How can you do that, right?
Right.
You have to be. Yeah, I think you know what I'm probably talking about, Rebecca.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah, so I find that very difficult, particularly because I have multiple mental illnesses, so it gets compounded, and I have to learn how to just, send things out there and forget about them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult, especially when the negative reviews start coming in. I didn't have a lot of them, but the ones that I did were very personal and just mean is the only word I can think of, But when you put your own story out there like I did, and people are still going to comment that they didn't like the book, and I'm not so much opposed to having somebody say, no, I didn't like this book. That's fine. There's books I don't like. But when they start talking specifically about me and my life and how that their journey through bipolar disorder was different from mine, so I must not have it. I must not actually have it, or things like that. That's when the real struggle comes in.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
For me is people just questioning things that I say in the book and making snide comments about, because I said I wasn't sure how I would handle negative comments. And so there's been a couple of people that have popped up and said, well, she said she wasn't sure how she was going to handle it. So, I hope that, her reading my negative comment doesn't make her go kill herself.
What?
Yeah. Somebody said that to me on Goodreads.
Wow.
Yeah. So
my God.
It's crazy, the kind of stuff that you get put through once you put yourself out there like that.
It's not crazy, it's wild.
It is, yes, thank you. Do you want me to make a snarky comment back to that guy? I totally can. I have no problem doing that. got you. How do you handle that, though? I mean, I don't have a book out there yet, but how do you handle that, particularly because it's so personal, Rebecca?
I didn't handle it well. I'm not going to lie to you. It was very, very difficult, and I got very upset. And the only thing, there was something on Goodreads after I got myself on there that they sent out this note, this email that was, don't respond to negative reviews because it just, it blows up in your face. And when I very, very first started, I responded to a very negative review, and it still to this day is stuck, in my craw, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But it didn't go well, and it blew up, and me and this girl got into this huge heated argument and everything. And that's the one thing that I could say is that try not to respond to any of that kind of thing if it happens. Just for your own mental health, it's not worth it.
That's one thing that you've really taken away from the whole process is it got you a little bit of a thicker skin. And she's really learned to not engage on this type of thing and feed into it, which I admire the hell out of my wife for it, because I will still read stuff and get angry and want to respond, and I'll mention something and she'll be like, well, why bother even responding? It's what good is it going to get you out of it? And it really does help, when I go to Beck about it and say, hey, I'm feeling this way about this situation, she says, well, if you say anything, is it going to, change that other person's mind or make it, make any type of, change, better outlook for the situation? I'm like, well, no. She says, well, why do it?
Yeah, she's totally right. Why?
Yeah,
it's
like that line in that movie with Tom Hanks.
That narrows it down.
That where he was bridge.
Oh, yeah, the spy one.
Yeah, something about I can't remember the dang name of the movie.
So, was the name of the movie Bridge of Spies?
I think it was Bridge of Spies. Yeah, excellent movie, and the gentleman that was starring in it with him, Tom Hanks' character would say, "Are you worried?" And the other character would say, "Would it help?" And I kind of took that away from that whole movie. I loved it every time he said it. And I actually do let that go in my head. Like, sometimes when I'm really feeling really down about whatever's going to happen next, I listen to myself and I say that, are you worried? No, would it help? And it really does put things kind of into perspective.
My wife's so smart.
Yeah, she is so smart. I was going to say, too, I love the title of your book, too, Rebecca. It's Not Your Journey, and that should say everything to anybody who says, well, she may not have bipolar disorder, her journey's not the same as mine, questioning you. Well, read the title. It's not your journey. Right?
Exactly.
And I love how you titled that. Yeah.
Thank you. There's been a lot of people that have questioned me on that. Like, what does this mean? And like, well, did you read the cover?
Not your journey.
Well,
it's my journey.
Not to get too deep, but it's not your journey.
Yeah. Some people have a hard time with the obvious.
Yeah.
They really do.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's enough about me.
It's never enough about you.
So Kelly, tell us a little bit more about your trilogy.
Oh yeah, of course. How much time do you have? So I love talking about this trilogy. So it actually it didn't start off as a trilogy. It started off quite a few years ago as almost like a kind of Da Vinci Code-esque sort of story, but obviously with a female protagonist, because that's what I do. And then it just kind of was falling flat. I don't know why. It was just, I wasn't feeling it. I got about 70,000 words in, and I'm like, this is crap. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I put it away. Yeah, I know, 70,000 words, right?
A lot.
It is a lot, but this is apparently what I do. So I just kind of abandoned it for a few years, and then I started thinking of another story about a young girl who has cystic fibrosis. And one of my very best friends died 10 years ago from CF complications. And I immediately saw her face when I saw this character. The character's name is Sparrow. And I thought, well, my friend's name was Tanya. I thought, well, you know, Tanya was this bold, vivacious, like, you tell me not to do something, I will do it right in front of you just to spite you kind of, you know, young woman. So tiny too. Patients with CF, they don't grow very large. So Tanya was about, I don't know, 4'10", 90 pounds soaking wet. And but she was so loud. She was just like there, and that's how I saw Sparrow. And then of course I was like, well, Tanya was a warrior, so Sparrow needs to be a warrior too. So I was thinking of this storyline, and then all of a sudden it came to me, and of course dragons, because I love dragons. And all of a sudden it came to me. I was riding on a streetcar, of all places, and I was just like, wait a second, these are the same story. So I ended up taking that old story that I'd abandoned and started weaving the storylines together. And then it ended up kind of blowing up into an ensemble cast and, you know, world building and 3 novels. I just finished the second one, the first draft of the second novel. And, yeah, and it's kind of consumed the last 2 years of my life, and it's been amazing. I feel like I've become, you know, the good parts of that kid again, you know, who would just dive into these fantasy stories and just, you know, think about magic and, you know, and at that time there weren't a lot, like in the 80s, there weren't a lot of fantasy stories where the women were the heroes, the warriors, the ones who saved the world. So this is what I've done. I have 2 female characters. They both have magical powers, and they're descended from this, you know, old ancient race who are incredibly powerful and universal, and they're just like, I've just fell in love with them so much, and it's kind of everything I wanted as a kid, you know. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and I give you all credit in the world for you know, going through creating an ensemble cast, doing world building, all of that stuff, because all, you know, that's beyond anything else. That takes a lot of patience to do, to actually have that follow through on it, you know. And you know, I can think of only a handful of people that have done that in the recent past, to any sort of success. You know, chief among them George Lucas. And yeah, and you know, I've tried writing in the past, you know, and I just, if it's a short story, I can nail that, you know, a couple characters, no problem. But to do it on a scale that you're describing, it blows my mind. You know?
Me too. I don't think I could put that all together. I think the cloudiness in my brain would take over before I was able to get too far. So kudos to you for being able to do that, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, it's
you know,
continue.
No, I was going to say that, you know, I kind of liken how I'm feeling with what you're doing to what I imagine when I'm told from people that don't know how to play an instrument. You know, they're blown away when I play something on guitar, you know, and especially if I'm playing something that they quote unquote know. And me, it's just, you know, I look at it, I'm like, well, it's simple. You do this, this, and this, you know, it's a couple of things, blah, blah, blah. you know, and to them they're like, whoa, you know, and I'm doing, and right now I'm doing the whoa with everything you've put into your trilogy. I'm geeking out. Sorry. Just it's really cool.
Geek out all you want. Yeah, it's I've never done something like this before, and I'm not gonna lie, it's been, I think the only reason I've actually been able to do it is because I've become obsessed with it. Everywhere I go, I even have a playlist, Spotify playlist that I downloaded that has about 120 songs now that I've titled like the acronym for the title of the first novel, and that's even my playlist. And everywhere I go, I'm walking down the street, I'm taking the subway, whatever, I'm listening to that playlist, and I am literally in a dissociative state, a good one, where I'm just imagining the scenes, and then I miss my subway stop, or I've gotten on the wrong bus before, and I am constantly in it all the time. So I think that's the only reason I've been able to, you know, carry this on for, you know, as many characters as I have, and it's taught me a lot about myself, like patience and logic and strategy, and that I would have never had before, I don't think. Yeah.
That's good.
You also mentioned that you've written some poetry as well. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I actually recently won honorable mention for a haiku contest with Dreamers Creative Writing. But I do have, you know, quite a few poems written. Those are where I write about mental health and mental illness a lot, because they're so immediate. They're like, I don't want to say immediate gratification, but that almost is what poetry is, because I write pretty much micro poetry. And I'm feeling something so intensely in the moment, whether it's a positive emotion, a negative emotion, overwhelming, and I'll just start thinking of all these idiosyncratic word usage, and I'll just end up writing it. And now I have probably about 30 poems. I'm kind of compiling a bit of a collection. I've sent out a few others, and yeah, I love writing poetry. I don't really think I'm a poet, but I love writing it.
Yeah, I enjoy it too when the brain works. You know, I have a poetry blog too that I've been neglecting lately, but I've been having a little trouble focusing on any kind of writing, to be honest.
Yeah, for me it's mine always takes the form of lyrics.
Lyrics, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I've actually taken to in my phone I've got a memo app, and I'll just start writing stuff down in the memo app, and that way I've got it. And that's been actually pretty convenient. I got lyrics for 3 songs in there already. So
wow.
So I'm pretty proud of that. If I can ever get to play with my band again, I'll get to show them.
Yeah, get recording.
Yeah, we will. It's just summers are tough. You know, everybody's got stuff going on. So, you know. Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about your decision to turn down a TED Talk.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm probably the only person in the world who's turned down a TED Talk speaker opportunity. It was here in Toronto, Unionville, which is it's one of the suburbs of Toronto. And I was going to speak about creativity and mental illness, specifically bipolar disorder. There's been a lot of research that suggests there is a correlation, not necessarily causation, but a correlation there, and all the nuances about that and things we need to be aware of and be mindful of. And yes, I will. You know, they approved my application. There was only 6 of us, and I was so excited. And then the dread started to set in. I prepared my talk. I had my slides, my research, and 2 weeks before, I had a bit of a breakdown. I was starting to get panic attacks, and I was losing sleep, and obviously very irritable, which is not good for my marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually spoke with a good friend of mine, and she said, Kelly, is this going to do anything for you? I'm like, well, no, but it's a good message. She's like, is it going to do anything for you? I'm like, well, no, not really, I guess. I don't really need to do it. She's like, then don't do it. Who says you have to do this? So I said, I'm not going to do it. So I turned it down.
Wow.
And I thought, like, I backed it. They had somebody else lined up. They had a couple of other people actually lined up just in case anybody said no. But I thought, when I sent the email, I thought, I'm going to feel like garbage about myself about this, thinking, here's another thing that I can't do because I have a mental illness and I'm a failure, and, all these cognitive distortions that mental illness is, so delightful to lay upon us. And
Yeah.
none of that happened. I felt really proud to be able to actually say, no, I'm not doing this. I know this is a wonderful thing, and TED Talks is kind of, the echelon of lectures. I'm not doing it. I don't need to. The fact that I was invited to is enough for me, and I think that, that's self-care. That's putting yourself first, 100%. Yeah, I think I want people to know that more than what I actually had planned in my lecture, although it's really cool material. Yeah.
That's really cool that you were, self-aware enough to say, you know what, this is doing me harm trying to prepare for this. I think I need to step away. A lot of people wouldn't have done that, and they would have, God knows what you would have gone through had you gone through with it, and I say that with a lot of respect, because that's a tough decision to make. You get an opportunity like that and you're like, wow, this could be really cool and everything, but if you're beating yourself up getting ready for it, your friend was absolutely right. What is this doing for you?
Yeah.
And if you're not getting something out of what you're doing too, where's the benefit?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So good on you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I feel like, there's so much out there already. There's so many wonderful advocates. I can think of, a couple of them, including the two of you, who are out there all the time. You're on Twitter. Rebecca, you're so candid on your Twitter about, I'm not feeling well today, or, we have our podcast. I'm so excited for this. And everything that you say, I feel like, you know what, for a little while, I'm going to step back and just let everybody these amazing people do what they do, and I'm going to do what I do best. You don't have to do something that will put you front and center if it's not good for you, because you're not going to do anyone any favors.
Right.
And that's important. Yeah.
Well, tell us what is coming up next for you briefly. We're getting to the end of the show now, so if you want to just kind of briefly let us know what your next steps are.
Yeah, well, I'm going to continue doing what I do. I'm working on shopping the first novel of the trilogy with agents right now. I did get a publishing offer, but I'm not 100% sure I'm going to go with that one. And try and finish the first draft of the other novel I was mentioning, the one about the young girl who died by suicide. I'm going full steam ahead with my writing, and I'm also teaching students and coaching students academic writing skills. So that takes a lot of time and energy, a lot, and I love it. It's good for my mental health because I can usually just do it from home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what about your social media, if anybody wants to reach out and get in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. I'm my Twitter is mostly I'm very active with at Kelly C. Nunn. And email, they can reach me via email. I don't know if you're going to put the the links on the website, they can do that via email as well. That's pretty much what I use the most.
Okay, Kelly C. Nunn. That's what you want to remember. So.
Yeah. You can DM me. It's cool.
Awesome. Well, we hate to bring things to an end because we love you and we love talking to you, and it's nice being able to talk one-on-one for once.
Yeah.
This is a long time coming, and one thing I'll say is when there's more going on with your book, like you've got release dates or anything that you want to talk about with it, let us know. We would absolutely love to have you back, Kelly.
I'd love that.
Any opportunity to talk to you, young lady.
Yes, Yay. And you guys as well. It's such a pleasure always speaking with you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So stay on the line. We're gonna close out our last tune, which is "For You" by Brandon Stanzel. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
When I begin to spin in the quicksand, I can't run. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. I push and pull with all my might, but it feels like it's not enough. It's gonna be alright. You make me feel alright. In moments and seasons, we're caught in the deep end, I need a hand to hold me. Love me like you know me. When it's hard just breathing, you keep my heart beating. Love looks like falling every day, till I fell for you. You got me finally feeling emotion. Lost in the moment, don't know where it's going. It's hard just breathing. You keep my heart beating. Love looks like falling every day, till I fell for you. Used to be bitter, but you made me better now. There's something about your style, like I'm gonna stay a while. No longer searching, feels good to figure out that it's gonna be alright. Come take my hand, let's ride. And moments and seasons, we're caught in the deep end, I need a hand to hold me. Love me like you know me. When it's hard just breathing, you keep my heart beating. Love looks like falling every day, till I fell for you. You got me finally feeling emotion. Lost in the moment, don't know where it's going. It's hard just breathing. You keep my heart beating. Love looks like falling every day, till I fell for you. Feel our feet rising off the ground. We ain't coming down, we're reckless, abandoned. No sign of landing. So high up, yeah, we're touching clouds. Never coming down, just you and me, darling. My kind of falling. You got me finally feeling emotion. Lost in the moment, don't know where it's going. You got me finally feeling emotion. Lost in the moment, don't know where it's going. It's hard just breathing. When you keep my heart beating. Love looks like falling every day, till I fell for you. You got me finally feeling emotion. Lost in the moment, don't know where it's going. It's hard just breathing. You keep my heart beating. Love looks like falling every day, till I fell for you.
Join us next week as Rebecca and Joe continue to battle the stigma of mental illness. Follow us on Twitter at Voices for Change RJ and on Facebook at Voices for Change 2.0.